Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of the 700 Club. We're delighted to have you with us. I don't know if you've been watching television, but I tell you, it makes me sick at my stomach. You see these, it's a parody of whatever, these congressmen, senators, whoever. Each one's got to say something. You've got a guy like Al Franken, a former comedian, trying to take on one of the most learned, distinguished judges we've ever seen, and it's just absurd. But anyhow, Democrats have unleashed a barrage of questions on that poor man and President Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court, Neil Gorsuch. So far, their plan to obstruct his nomination isn't working at all.
Well, Gorsuch faces another long day of questioning from the Senate Judiciary Committee today. Even so, he appears to be on his way to confirmation to the High Court. Abigail Robertson brings us the story from Capitol Hill.
Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch is determined to convince senators of his impartiality.
I have no difficulty ruling against or for any party, other than based on what the law and the facts in the particular case require. And I'm heartened by the support I have received from people who recognize that there's no such thing as a Republican judge or a Democratic judge. We just have judges in this country.
Still, Senate Democrats continue to try to pin him down on controversial issues like abortion, gun control, and President Trump's travel ban.
Do you agree with Judge Wilkinson that the Second Amendment is ambiguous? If so, should the ambiguity be decided by the courts or by legislatures?
But Gorsuch remains steadfast in refusing to hint at any decisions he might make.
I'm not going to say anything here that would give anybody any idea how I'd rule in any case.
President Trump promised to nominate a pro-life justice, but Gorsuch refrained from discussing his stance on the issue.
Had you ever met President Trump personally?
Not until my interview.
In that interview, did he ever ask you to overrule Roe v. Wade?
No, Senator.
What would he have done if he'd asked?
Senator, I would have walked out the door. It's not what judges do.
Senate Democrats repeatedly expressed frustration that President Obama's nominee to replace Antonin Scalia, Merrick Garland, never received a hearing. Senator Lindsey Graham answered that criticism by citing the unofficial Biden rule from 1992.
This is what the chairman of this committee, Joe Biden, said about that possibility then. It would be our pragmatic conclusion that once the political season is underway, and it is, action on a Supreme Court nomination must be put off until after the election campaign is over.
That didn't stop Senator Leahy from asking Gorsuch about what some Democrats are calling a stolen seat.
Do you think he was treated fairly by this committee, yes or no?
Senators, I explained to you before, I can't get involved in politics.
Confirmation hearings continue through Thursday, with a committee vote expected by April 3rd. Leader McConnell is confident that one way or the other, Judge Gorsuch will be confirmed by Easter. Reporting from Capitol Hill, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
The Democrats can't vote against him. They can't lay a glove on him. The guy is like a judge from Central Casting. There is no way. And so if they're going to filibuster him, they're going to lose face. So the chances are they'll pass on this one. And the next judge coming up, I think, is going to be William Pryor. And he will be replacing one of the existing judges. We're not sure who's going to go, but there'll be at least 2 more vacancies. And so the chances for the Republicans and for Trump are to set a conservative majority on the Supreme Court for the next 10, 20 years. It is a major, major shift in the overall policy of our nation. It is too important to miss, and they've got to be not to be hung up on Senate rules about filibusters and so forth. If the Dems want a filibuster, well, okay, break it through with the nuclear option. Harry Reid did it. The Democrats jammed through a whole bunch of lower court, circuit court nominations, jammed them through with the simple majority. They used the nuclear option and took away the filibuster power of the Republicans. So give them the same courtesy that they gave to you. Well, the White House is facing a much more difficult battle on Capitol Hill. I just don't understand what's going on with the Republicans in this health care thing. But if the conservatives have a point, then it looks like that it behooves the majority who don't have enough votes to pass a replacement bill. They all want to repeal it, but they've got to replace it. And they haven't agreed on a replacement. But it seems like Paul Ryan, the Speaker, should concede to these people, get their votes, and pass this thing. It's absolutely crucial. John Jessup has that.
Pat, as you were saying, it appears Republican lawmakers face an uphill battle to pass their health care plan, which is scheduled for a House vote tomorrow. A number of conservatives are reluctant to go along with the bill, even though President Trump and some Republican leaders are putting on the pressure. Charlene Aaron has the story.
President Trump is trying to close the deal on the GOP health care plan. Asked if he could get the votes after going to Capitol Hill to meet with House Republicans. Think so. But the president warned conservatives opposing the bill that a no vote could cost them in next year's midterm elections.
We're going to make sure that we remember those who stood by us.
If we fail to get it done, fail to meet the promises made by all of us, including the president, then it could have a very detrimental effect to Republicans in 2018 who are running for re-election, said Representative Mike Conway of Texas. He added, if it fails, then there will be a lot of people looking for work in 2018. The House Republican leadership has made concessions to try to secure more votes and appease skeptical conservatives. The GOP plan scales back the role of government in the private health insurance market and limits future federal financing for Medicaid. It would also repeal tax increases on high-income earners and do away with Obamacare's penalties, requiring all Americans have health care. But even with revisions, passage of the bill remains uncertain. A senior White House official says the administration is trying to persuade about 20 to 25 opposed or undecided House Republicans. All Democrats in the House are expected to vote no, but 22 Republican no votes would kill the bill. But the persuasion has worked for some members who are now on board.
There are a few other things I might have liked to get, but yeah, this moved me and it moved some others, and hopefully it'll get us over the line.
If the measure fails, it could hurt the possibilities for moving on to the president's next priority, his plans for helping the economy, including tax cuts for businesses and individuals. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Thanks, Charlene. Pat, back to you.
Well, you know, the stock market had quite a dip yesterday. It was the first time that it's had a serious drop in a number of months. And I think the reason is the uncertainty about the passage of the tax cuts. The president has been promising major tax revision and major tax cuts. They don't have to revise the IRS code. They just don't have to do that. That's too big a task. All they have to do is cut several brackets, especially for small businesses, take away the corporate tax, lower it to a more sustainable level, and 2 or 3 other moves, and it would be a major thrust forward for the economy. And that's what the average American is concerned about, is how much money is he going to have to pay in taxes, not about health care. Health care is important, but that is vital. Well, the Koreans have a lot of bluster, but they also have some failure, and one of the failures blew up in the Sea of Japan. John has that.
That's right, Pat. Korea's latest missile test ended in failure today. The U.S. Pacific Command says the missile appears to have exploded within seconds of launch. Now, it is unclear what kind of missile it was, though many weapons experts warn North Korea could have a functioning nuclear-tipped missile capable of reaching the continental U.S. within a few years. Well, in an exclusive story CBN News broke this morning, we've learned that President Trump will deliver the commencement address at Liberty University in May. Now, Trump is no stranger to the school. He spoke twice before at Liberty's convocation. And University President Jerry Falwell Jr. was among his most prominent evangelical backers during the presidential campaign. In a statement provided exclusively to CBN News, the president told us, quote, "I look forward to speaking to this amazing group of students on such a momentous occasion. Our children truly are the future, and I look forward to celebrating the success of this graduating class as well as sharing lessons as they embark on their next chapter full of hope, faith, optimism, and a passion for life. For more on this story and President Trump's impact with evangelicals so far, you can head over to the Brody File on CBNNews.com, where David Brody and our White House correspondent Jennifer Wishon will provide more analysis. Well, in health news, millions of Americans are walking around with a silent killer inside their bodies and don't even know it. High blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for strokes and a leading cause of heart attack. But as Lori Johnson explains, there's a way to help lower high blood pressure through a diet that works as effectively as medication.
A whopping 1/3 of American adults have potentially deadly high blood pressure, also called hypertension. That's 80 million people. Half of them do not have it under control. 1/5 don't even know they have it. The good news is Duke University researchers developed the DASH diet, a great way to get and keep your blood pressure in the healthy range.
It can lower blood pressure at levels equivalent to what you might get from medication. And so we think of it as just as effective as the blood pressure medications that are out there today.
The DASH diet, which stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, consists of lots of vegetables and fruits, also beans, nuts, fish, poultry, and whole grains. What's not on the diet are fast foods and processed foods. That means no sugar, hydrogenated oil, processed meats, or white flour. Doctors have known about the DASH diet for 20 years now and have been recommending it to their patients with high blood pressure. But researchers discovered only 1% of Americans fully follow it, and just 20% follow it halfway. That's because of America's so-called food environment. Fast foods and processed foods are everywhere, while the foods on the diet aren't as commonplace. Also, they generally take longer to prepare and typically cost more. However, there are ways to spend less while getting more healthy, nutritious foods.
Frozen fruits and vegetables are really low costs and can be easily accessible in supermarkets, just like the convenience foods that are available in the next aisle. Other foods like beans, whether they be cooked or uncooked, and nuts, those things also tend to be less expensive and are very rich in the nutrients that we know are helpful for lowering blood pressure.
So while following the DASH diet might require spending more time and money on food, in the long run you may end up saving on blood pressure medication you won't need, and you could end up saving something else. Your life. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Thanks, Lori. And Pat, with fruits and vegetables, nuts and whole grains, it sounds a lot like the DASH diet. Could easily be called the Pat diet.
Sounds like the Pat diet. Pat knows better, and Pat is big on fish. I tell you, I want to give you a secret. It's easy. There's something that I can get at the health food store. It's called Norwegian cod liver oil. Mm-hmm. And it has all that nasty fish taken out of sea. A teaspoon of that stuff, fabulous fish oil.
Yeah, it's
fabulous.
very important.
Yeah, they've got an EPA, DHA, and all that stuff, but it's got it all in it. The other thing is dark chocolate, and I know ladies you like chocolate, but dark chocolate without all the sugar and stuff is extremely good for lowering blood pressure. But I'm getting older than Moses, and I'm not going to submit to this stuff, but I eat a lot of nuts, I eat a lot of berries, and I like vegetables where I can get them, and I love beans. And beans are just fantastic.
You've been adhering to this for a while,
well,
advocating it for all of us.
It's so much better. I mean,
Yes.
you know, you don't have to eat them. But I eat pizza, for heaven's sakes. I like this stuff.
I think you can do it once in a while if
Sure.
you're doing the
Well,
other
I mean,
most of the
hey,
time.
Good pizza.
Yeah.
It's an American tradition taken from Italy. All right.
Indeed.